Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for Northern Ag TV. The Ag Department is canceling the Partnership for Climate Smart Commodities and instead reforming it into the Advancing Markets for Producers initiative. This decision was made after finding that the Climate Smart projects had extremely high administration fees, which provided less than half of federal funding directly to farmers. Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins announced that the department will review existing grant agreements based on three priorities. A minimum of 65% of federal funds must go to producers. Grant recipients must have enrolled at least one producer by the end of 2024, and the grant recipients must have made a payment to at least one producer by the end of 2024. Secretary Rollins says that these changes will align the initiative with current Trump administration priorities. U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar and 18 others are waiting to hear back from the U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer after sending a letter requesting more information on how the administration tariffs are going to impact producers across the U.S. Some of the questions in the letter included: what are the long and short-term impacts of tariffs on farmers? Did the USTR perform an analysis on the impact of across-the-board tariff policy on farmers? And what are the goals of the administration's trade policy? The question stands of what the direct economic impact is going to be on farmers and ranchers across the country. Montana State University's College of Agriculture has received continued funding from the Montana Fertilizer Advisory Committee, totaling about $441,000 for 2025. This funding supports over 24 research projects focused on soil health, fertilizer use, water efficiency, and crop innovation. Projects range from optimizing boron and sulfur use in wheat to studying lime application, nitrogen leaching, and the fertility needs of crops like soybeans, canola, and barley in Montana. The Fertilizer Advisory Committee funding, sourced from fertilizer assessments, is awarded through a competitive process and directly benefits Montana producers through research led by MSU faculty and graduate students. We'll be back with the markets right after this.
From the beginning, we've worked closely with farmers. BNSF's ties to the agricultural community go back 175 years. Together, we've innovated to make the U.S. agriculture supply chain one of the most efficient and productive in the world. Our strong relationship powers BNSF still today and helps us move the nation like no one else can. At BNSF, we move the nation for you.
Talking with someone that you know is stressed out, those are difficult things to approach, but if you're good friends with those people, reach out and say, I'm here to talk to you. We can find somewhere to get some assistance. It's hard to get involved, but at the same time, you want to just say, hey, there is help available.
For more tips in dealing with stress in agriculture or for free counseling for egg producers, visit beyondtheweather.com.
Thanks for joining us back for the markets. Well, the upset in the cattle market last week seems to be a thing of the past. Traders are back to focusing on the fact that cattle supplies are tight. And with that, the Cattle on Feed report comes out on Thursday, which could bring some uncertainty in the market, but we'll have to see what positions are taken ahead of that report. Considering the shortened week for the holiday and the fact that packers were able to purchase cattle for deferred delivery last week, the cash cattle market is likely to trade lower again. Choice box beef prices have had some strength, up $1.41 at $335.63. Well, the month of April is busy with bull sales, and yesterday C-Spear Angus had their sale. They sold 100 head of yearling bulls. Lot 14 topped out the sale for $27,000. Sioux Falls had the most receipts for our region on Monday, with calves trading $3 to $6 higher on all classes. The heavy end of 700-pound steers sold for $294 per hundredweight, heavy 8s at $281, and heavy 9s $260. The 800-pound class of heifers was the busiest class on the female side, with almost 450 head averaging $251. Little going on in the wheat market on Tuesday. The crop progress reports came out on Monday afternoon, which showed winter wheat conditions at 47% rated good to excellent, just barely lower than the previous week and in line with trade expectations. Spring wheat planting was as expected too, right at 7% complete. It was also reported on Monday that inspections for wheat were at 22.2 million bushels, the largest total since last September. Better rainfall is expected in some key wheat growing areas this week with chances of flooding. Traders continue to be focused on those world weather issues and will be watching to see how the forecast shakes out. That's it for Northern Ag TV. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.